Okay, everybody, this is Catch Aids, the heavy metal picker. If you haven't already noticed, the videos, most of them anyway, on my channel are supposed to be humorous. If you want a funny video, click on something else. This is serious, but if you think I'm joking, I don't blame you. I'm going to say a lot of things in this video that you might think are stupid or crazy. I'm going to tell you the story about how I got clean and sober, and I will reflect on revealing Riley Gale's cause of death. Now, my sobriety date is July 10, 2019. I am on the habitual drunk driver registry. I have been arrested for drunk driving 7 times. I did a lot of very regrettable things. Alcohol was always my drug of choice. Narcotic stimulants were a distant second. I am referring to powder cocaine, crack cocaine, and meth. Now, I've explained this story in greater detail on my other channel, which I'm not going to mention here. But I drank my last drink at the Lost Well in Austin, Texas. I don't believe that Power Trip has ever played the Lost Well. Maybe someday they might. Anyhow, shortly after what would be my last drink, I smoked some meth. And 12 hours into this meth binge, I experienced what you would call an epiphany, a moment of clarity, a spiritual experience, whatever. All these phrases described what had happened to me. I was told, not in American English, but more like telepathy, that I would no longer be drinking or using drugs, and the reason for this was that the craving for this alcohol and drugs would be completely eliminated. I felt this communication in my skin, in my bones, and in my internal organs. I specifically felt the words permanent and irreversible. I was then shown a flow chart of my life, and it was very detailed, and it made perfect sense. My resentments toward myself, towards others, toward the world in general were not eliminated, but they were significantly diminished. I underwent a total personality overhaul, and all this was instant. I was told that all my life's problems were fixable, and easily fixable at that. I was given quite a few pieces of information about life in general. I now know why bad things happen to good people, a few other things, but I mostly want to get to talking about Riley Gale. One question that I did not receive an answer to was why this happened to me and why July 2019 was the time to receive it. Before this, I wondered, why do bad things happen to good people? And, as I was receiving this information, I was wondering, why was I spared? There's a lot of people who are probably much nicer than me who, were younger and died of overdose. There's a lot of people who don't get spared the way that I was. And I do not have a conclusive answer for that, but ultimately everything will make sense. Since then, yeah, I've felt zero craving for alcohol and drugs. So the information that I got absolutely came true. Now, I am by no means spiritually enlightened. I'm still a troubled and flawed man who occasionally does stupid things, just a lot less. Now, for quite some time, I didn't tell anybody about what had happened. I figured no one would believe me, and no one should have believed me, really. I used to hear people say things like, oh, God spoke to me, and he told me this, that, and the other, and I became a changed person. And I would think that these people were stupid or crazy, and then for whatever reason, it happened to me, and I became one of these stupid, crazy people. One somewhat regrettable thing that I've done in sobriety is revealing Riley Gale's cause of death. Now, in order for me to talk about a band or a musician on Heavy Metal Picker, 2 things need to happen. The first is I need to like you as a musician or care about what you're doing. And the second, I cover stuff that nobody else is talking about. I'm posting music that's, probably been forgotten by an overwhelming majority of people. Stuff that relatively few people would care about, but Riley, of course, would be a bit more popular than most of the underground stuff that I would talk about here. Where am I at here? Anyhow, yeah, I know damn well that I'm never going to become rich or famous with this channel. So no, I did not post his thing for his autopsy report for clout or whatever. I'll get to the reasons why in a second here. So Riley Gale had died, and for months his cause of death was not revealed. I, of course, was curious. There was an interview with Ice-T in which he suggested that Riley may have had a drug problem, but he didn't come right out and say that Riley Gale had died of an overdose. I obtained the paperwork detailing Riley's cause of death, and I posted it, and I got mostly a negative reaction from it. Now, believe me, this is not something I wanted to tell. In my mind, I figured that maybe posting this stuff might discourage others from using drugs, and it might discourage some to quit using drugs, or at the very least, it would give fans and people like me a sense of closure. A lot of people posted negative comments about my decision to do this, and for a couple months I was accused of deleting these negative comments. Now, for the first couple months I did not delete any negative comments. I let the negative comments stand. On some of the videos you have to click show all comments or new comments because YouTube filters out some things for reasons I'm not going to pretend that I understand how this works. So after a couple months, yes, I did delete the negative comments because I thought that, well, maybe the first few people had something negative to say and that caused other people to just dogpile on top. And I was right. After I deleted the negative comments, the more recent comments weren't quite so negative. Now, if you wish to post a negative comment now, I'll let it stand. One such person who did not like my decision to post the coroner's report was Brandon Gale, Riley Gale's father. Now, I admit reading his comments were heartbreaking, and I did strongly consider taking the video down, but the cat was already out of the bag. After this, I asked quite a few people that I knew who had quit doing drugs and alcohol, and I asked them, am I wrong for posting this? And if you relapsed and died, would you want others to know that you had died of addiction, or would you want this to be kept a secret? And I received quite a few different answers. Now, you, the viewer, might ask yourself, if I died of drugs or whatever, would I want people to know, or would I want this to be a secret? So ask yourself that, include that in your will or whatever. To Riley Gale's family, friends, fans, if you need someone to resent the person who provided Riley with the drugs that killed him, resent the traffickers of the drugs, and the politicians who enabled this. To Brandon Gale, if you still want to talk to me, I would be willing to talk to you. I promise that I will not publicize what you have to say, and if you still resent me, I totally understand. Rest in peace, Riley Gale.